Hey, and I don't know who need to hear this, but look, as a female, you don't got hoes. You just one hoe to a bunch of niggas. Yes, that's what I said. This is a man's game. You don't got hoes and I got 10 niggas. No. You just one hoe to 10 niggas. That's all it is. You feel me? This is a man's game. I don't know who the fuck filled y'all head up with thinking y'all can be like us, but y'all not like us. You feel me? It's okay. You just one hoe to a bunch of niggas. That's cool. You feel me? Just accept that whole role. That's it.
Good evening, gentlemen, and a few of you ladies that may be listening. This is Spiritual Art of War, back at it again with another episode. And this time we're going to talk about what you've seen in the clip. And this is the idea that women, they think that they can move like men. And this is part of the problem, in the Western world, is that women were told that they're equal to men. And I've always talked about that men's motivation and women's motivation are different. And it's really just down to the hardwiring in which women were made to be counterparts to men. Okay? And they were not made to be superior to men, and they were not made to lead men. Okay? And because of that, the master-servant relationship that is actually the default setting that is supposed to be when it comes to men and women, their motivations behind each side is going to be different. Okay? And so you got women out here that think that they're players. Coi Leray has a song that says, because girls are players too. No, not in the same way. Why are we saying that? Because what is the outcome of what when a woman plays a man, right? How does a woman play a man versus how a man play a woman? A woman only plays is playing men when she's finessing money out of men. And especially she can finesse money out of men without actually providing sexual access. So getting men to pay for her or buy her things without the exchange of her body per se, right? Because that's the only way a woman can play a man, is if there's an unequal exchange of value going on, where a man is giving her money, and she's not providing anything, tangible in return, or either, basically a service, essentially. Because remember, what does a servant do? A servant provides service. Okay? So a service not being given in exchange for the money is how she plays a man. It's never her being able to sleep around with different men. It's not her having a 10-man rotation and sleeping with different men. That doesn't make any sense. Now, on the flip end, when it comes to men, what makes a man a player when he's dealing with women? Well, this is when a man is able to get sexual access without giving up resources, or he's giving up limited time or attention to a woman and still able to get access to her body. Okay, and a man that does this is what he's called a player. Okay, so this is what some men do, is they may peacock. Okay, so let's say you got different types of players, right? You got different types of ways that a man will be a player. I'm gonna give you one example, right? Let's start with one example. And I'm doing this off the top of the dome because I just seen this clip. I'm leaving work and I'm on my way back home, and I said, let me go ahead and roll with it. So one way a man will, in short range, be able to do that is going to be because he's very attractive on a physical scale. So think a king 6'8" the great, 6'8", 240 pounds of muscle. Got the braids, got the Rick Fox grill. You know what I'm saying? That's an inside joke for those that know. He got the Rick Fox grill. He got the tattoos. He got the braids. He got the drip. So he's peacocking. He's showing his physical attributes. That's going to generate the interest from the woman, and therefore he can use that to gain access to a woman's body without having to give up resources and without having to really expend that much time or attention to these women. And he can do that with multiple women, and therefore that would make him a player. because he hasn't have to exert all that stuff. He's basically given what would be considered an unequal value exchange for access to the body. Now, the woman that would generally do this would be doing this for an ego boost. This would be to boost their own ego, that they were able to get with a guy like that. So, but see, for the man in that situation, he doesn't mind that because that's not his concern. And if she feels good about getting with him, so be it, right? Now, another way is a man can be a player is maybe using his status. Okay? So maybe he doesn't have the looks. Maybe he really doesn't have the money. I don't think people understand that there's a lot of people that are in the celebrity world that are not really, they don't really got that much money, but because they still have the status of maybe their former glory or whatever they have, that they, you know, they built their name or reputation on, it still holds weight wherever they go. And even with this status, they get free stuff. They might go to a restaurant and the restaurant might not even charge their tab and say, hey, we're just going to take a picture of you that you showed up to our establishment and we're going to comp your bill. It's on us, because they're going to leverage his celebrity or his status for, you know, as a means of advertisement. That's kind of an exchange of value when it comes to like an establishment, a bar, a club, or a restaurant, especially one that needs a little bit more notoriety. Hey, we had such and such stop by. Okay, and you've even seen this with the likes of like a Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson lost a lot of money over the years. He was the highest paid athlete at one point for many years, making, you know, 20, 25, $30 million purses back in the 90s. Do the math. And he was, you know, he lost it all and he gained it back because his name held weight. So you got people that are out there that because of their reputation, because of the status, even if they lose the money, they can still leverage that and get access to women. Okay? I can't think of anybody off the top of the dome, but I mean, you could think about, I mean, there's athletes, there's certain entertainers, there's certain people that were on TV shows that may not be making that much money, but because of who they are, their celebrity, they're able to utilize that to get access to certain women. Okay? And this happens especially in the local celebrity world. And I could give you an example in Houston. You know, in Houston, you got a lot of local celebrities, rappers. You got certain guys that might not be making money like that, but because of their status or their celebrity status at one point, they can pop up, and because people know who they are, they have established connections, they're still likable, they'll pull chicks just off of that. I can think about somebody like Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain is a rapper from Houston. He had a couple of big hits locally. One, I think, you could say national hit, you know, Drink in My Cup. A lot of people say that he took his style from Drake, but actually Drake took his style from Houston, because Houston rappers, you can go back and look up the history. Houston rappers were known for, you know, harmonizing and rapping. Okay? That's a Houston thing. And the slowed down music and all that, right? But anyway, he can still go to certain clubs in Houston and pull chicks just off the fact that he's Kurt Cobain, even if his money ain't coming in, you know, like other people. Like, he ain't got money like Slim Thug money, but he could literally, Kurt Cobain can pull up in a 392 Scat Pack wide body, which is not a bad vehicle at all, but it's not a vehicle that, like, it's a vehicle that a rapper that's really out here getting it, he ain't gonna have. He's gonna upgrade to that, you know, to the Hellcat Red Eye, you know, or a Trackhawk at the minimum. You're gonna see him in a Trackhawk or something like that, or Escalade, or a Range Rover. You know, then if you big boy status, you in the G63 AMG, or you in the Rolls Royce, you know. So we know that there's levels, right? But I seen it. Oh, I just thought about it. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's from Mo City, from around my neck of the woods. And I can't remember his name, but I got a story on this situation. I wish I remember his name. He was one of those Instagram Vine comedian guys, and he's from Houston. I forgot his name. But back, like, you could say 2012, 2013, you could say 2013, around that time is when he blew up, and I forgot his name because I don't follow his IG. I used to remember his name back in the day. I was at a club over off of Richmond, So I went to the old Scott Gertner's at the, Prospect Park. That's what it's called. So I went to Prospect Park. Anybody from Houston knows where I'm talking about. So I go to Prospect Park because it's like a spot that me and my coworker would go to because they had like the cheap wings on, I think on a Tuesday. They had like the $5 Long Island iced tea. So me and my boy, we would go there like every like Tuesday. I think it was the Tuesdays when they had it going on, the wing special. So after work, we would head out over there. So my friend, he lived kind of further away from the spot. So he would have to go back home, of course, because his drive is going to be a little bit further out. Because he lived all the way out like in Clear Lake. You know, I'm over like in the southwest suburbs. So I'm like really 20 minutes away from 20 minutes away from home with no traffic. Whereas for him, you know, he's a little bit further out. So he leaves early. You know, for me, the night's still young. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and go to this other spot. So there was this other bar on the other side of the street. I forgot the name of it because it's been so long. It's been over 10 years now. So I go over there and, you know, I walk up in there. You know, see the waitresses, the baddies or whatever. You know, a few dudes in there. Remember, it's a Tuesday night, so it's not slow. It's like kind of halfway packed, but it's still somewhat live. So I go there on my own. I walking through there, and because he was blowing up on social media, mind you, he was not making money at the time. He even told the story about how he was still living at his mama's house in Mo City when he was blowing up. So he was blowing up. He had status at this point. He had probably like, maybe you could say 500,000 or more followers. Dude's about 5'6", 5'5", no cap. He walk in there, yo, the girls going crazy. They saying his name, they hugging him, they want to take pictures with him, all that. And I was like, yo, who they going crazy over? I was like, yo, this old boy from Instagram. And that's one of the moments that I said, he's not a King 6'8" the Great. He's not like one of these guys that's like on a looks max scale that these guys be talking about out here. You know, he ain't even on a Mike Rashid level or one of these, you know, Simeon Panda, Ulysses type. You feel me? But the dude had status. He had clout. So he didn't have the looks all the way. He was an average looking dude, below average height, because the average height of a man is 5'9", 5'8", roughly. So he was below average height. He didn't have the money, but he had the clout or status. And that was enough for him to pull some of those females that was at that spot. Then another thing that and mind you, you can use that to become a player, to rotate women, if you have high enough clout or status. Then the next one is going to be moolah, money. Okay? The money is a way that, and the way the money works, you don't have to be good looking, you don't have to be famous, but if you have money, you can utilize that as a form of peacocking to attract women that would be interested in you. Okay? And the fourth one, I'm going to say the fourth one is, and this is kind of like more of like with an asterisk, because sometimes you might need a form of one of the other three sometimes, but it's going to be personality or charisma, or like we used to say back in the day, mouthpiece. Okay? Meaning the ability to speak to a woman and generate attraction through conversation. Okay? So that's like the fourth one, but that's the hardest one, because even with that, of all, that's why of the three is easier to make to flow a woman in, or you could say source women in with the other three, to pull women in. The fourth one requires a lot more work. So it's going to require a man to really, and it's harder to do now because women want to see, a lot of times, if you don't got one of the other three, a lot of times they want to see your Instagram. They want to see how you're living. Because if you don't got the other three, like, and it's very obvious, they're going to probably ask for like social media to see like what are you, why would be a reason for me to deal with you? You got clout? Are there girls following you that are baddies? Because they're going to see the type of chicks commenting in your posts. to determine whether or not they want to talk to you. If they see baddies in your post saying hi, what's up, or you're tagged into photos where you're out and about in the city, and baddies is tagging you, even if you got 5,000 followers, if they see baddies is following you, baddies is tagging you, baddies is commenting under your posts, baddies is telling you, congratulations or happy birthday or whatever, that's when they're going to be like, oh, okay, he cool. So that's what you call like pre-selection or mate choice copying. Okay, that's a pre-selection. So that's another way. Okay, this is like in the miscellaneous realm, because remember, there's got to be something about you for these women to like you. You might have one of the other three, and maybe you might not know you have like the looks. You might not know that you're actually like in a higher percentile of looks. Okay, but your personality might be getting these other girls, and then they might be like, oh, okay, we gonna rock with them. And there's a lot of dudes that actually fall in that category, believe it or not. So some of these what I mean by it, there's some of these baddies that have a gang of followers. They have dudes that they either grew up with or that's in a city that they ran into, and they might have had a conversation, and the girl might have been like, yo, I like the way this guy, he makes me feel. So they'll exchange numbers, and they might even invite him out to like a spot. She might be hosting at a club, and she might have her girls with her and be like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Come out. I got a VIP. The drinks is on us, and you might be one of the guys sitting in the section with a bunch of baddies, and they like, yo, who that? You might just be her neighbor. You might be living in the same high-rise apartment as her. You just don't know. It could be multiple reasons. Because I think a lot of people think that, especially a natural baddie, a girl that's been fine her whole life, and and let's say she happens to have like, she's not stuck up. She's not as stuck up on herself as other people. She might want to have a couple of normal friends. She might want to have a couple of regular guy friends that she just knows that, that can make her laugh. Life of the party type guys that ain't super clouded up, but he's cool though. He's the homie. So you don't know, or you might be, her cousin's or brother's friend, and that's why you kind of in that circle. So, and then that could be enough for you again to have a little rotation. And I know this for a fact because I have somebody related to me that's in a situation that's very what you could say would be advantageous to me if I'd exercise it. Some people know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into detail, but it would be a very advantageous situation that I literally could have taken advantage of. And I'm gonna put it like this: look up Queen Naija and the dude that she's with, and find out who that dude is connected to. Okay, the guy that Queen Naija, the singer from Detroit, if you look up Queen Naija, she's with that gentleman, I forgot his name, but she used to be with this streamer named Chris, and they kind of blew up streaming on YouTube, and he ended up getting with one of my childhood crushes. I think he got with Parker McKenna Posey, one of them chicks, one of them girls. He got with, I think, later on, but yeah, he got her through a really connection. You know what I'm saying? So like, you deep dive and do your research, and it's 2025. You know what I'm saying? But I was in a similar type of situation. I'll put it like that, where I could have been like, yo, let me move out to that city, and I know I can set up an independent business that I can spin off just off the connect that I had. And then that's a way that you can get access to females. That's how some of these dudes get in rotation. So everything is not a one-size-fits-all thing as to why some of these men are players and have rotation. But when it comes to the woman, like we said already, woman cannot do that. The only way a woman can actually be a player is for her to extract resources out of man. And what does that require her to be? Gorgeous. Now, there's a lot of thirsty men. So there's some women, they don't have to be gorgeous. Maybe they just got to be youthful. I mean, we can see that with the situation with, Shannon Sharp, with his situation with that woman. I seen, it's funny because I seen I seen some pictures of her or some videos of her where she looked decent, and then another one where she just looked average. But again, her youth took her a long way, right? So more than likely the youth is what carried her, and she ran into a sucker and she licked it. A 1, a 2, a 3. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? Okay? So, yeah, these women, they can't be players like the same way men could be. Bro, I knew girls growing up that were below average looking women, even in college. They were below average. They were 4s, 5s, and they were getting ran through by multiple men because they were sexually available. Okay, and these young dudes were super horny, and they didn't care that she was not attractive. She was available. And I can recall one of her roommates exposed her that she had a list of all the men, like near her, like her desk. She would write the names of the men she slept with, like that year. And I think like she was approaching like 50 for the school year. And she was not an attractive female. She wasn't like an ogre, but she wasn't like, she's like a 4. She's like, you can say she's like a 5, 4.5, 5. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what your taste would be to make her a 5 or in your eyes. But she was not nowhere near like the level of the other females at the school, as far as like the baddies. But, at the end of the day, because she was, available, she got a lot of guys that she had in rotation, that she had coming and seeing her at the dorm, or she was seeing them, and she liked it. She loved the attention. She had low self-esteem. She loved the attention, and some of these guys that were knocking her down were guys that were like highly sought after, So, can't imagine any of them being really like, football players, but they were like some frat dudes, some pretty boys, you can say, the Chad types that would see her like on a slow night, on a night when they just want to just, they maybe finish studying, they study for their little, midterm or whatever. Maybe it's a slow week and they just chilling, they hit the gym, they take a shower. You're like, oh, I wonder what Susie's doing. Let me hit up Susie. Susie's, hey, what you got going on? Are you busy right now? She's like, no, I'm not busy. Well, I'm walking through and, I'm walking towards your dorm. You want to see me? Yeah, I would love to. The rest is history. So what is that? A player? Oh, a woman got 10 men. Come on, get out of here. This is a lie to you. See, and this is what's happening with a lot of these young women. A lot of these young women, their mothers, their aunties, their grandmas, because these grandmas is not the same grandmas from the civil rights era. This is the welfare state, post civil rights. I don't need a man generation of grandmothers. They're from that generation. So they're lying to them, telling them they can do what men do too. So these girls, they like out here, they kind of out here playing like they're actually trying to be like men, but like they'll be in a relationship with a guy and then they'll go sleep with another man and they're like, oh, I got a side dude. That's where they start talking about side dude. That comes from them believing that they're men. Like having a side dude. I got a side chick, so we got side niggas. And they think that they're like the man. They thinking that it's the same thing. No, what's gonna happen is you get with the side dude, and you're gonna hate your man. You're gonna start disrespecting him because you now are with another man, and your heart can't be in two places at the same time. Psychologically, men can handle. That's why there was polygamy historically. Okay? Because men can deal with multiple women and not feel any type of way with it. He can have 2 wives and he can still like both of them. Yeah, he might like one a little bit more, but that it will have nothing to do with if both women left. Like if one woman left, he's still gonna like the woman that left, or said, you know what, during the time that she was here, I did like her more than this one. But he's not gonna just be like, I don't want to never deal with this other one. You know, it might be a reason why he might like one more than the other. Maybe one might start running her mouth, and he might be like, yeah, this is not it. But at the end of the day, polygamy, this is why polygamy was more natural for men to be, have multiple women than women having multiple men. And the woman having multiple men, that's just her, getting attention. That's why you see all these women with multiple kids by multiple men. That's attention-based stuff. That's just her wanting to have, trophies. Those are just like proofs that she got with the particular guy. That's, you see, like Joey Chavez, she got like 3 baby daddies. Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you got Future. What Future's doing is a whole different ballgame. So, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next episode.